tailgate too. Untuck whatever you damn well please. And if you want to look good while doing it, untuck with a shirt made for this moment. Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Find your perfect fit at untuckit.com or one of 80 plus Untuck It stores nationwide. Use code SUNNY for 20% off your first purchase.
Hey, Kansas City.
30 seconds.
Untuck whatever you
Did you
damn
know
well
that on
please.
average, Americans spend about 15 hours shopping for a car? That's almost 5 football games. If you have better things to do with your time and want to avoid stress, check out the concierge service at OneRequest.com. The OneRequest concierge team will find your car, negotiate the deal, review the paperwork, and arrange delivery. You got a trade-in? They'll handle that too. Experience car shopping made easy at OneRequest.com. Don't forget, that's OneRequest.com.
You're listening to the most powerful sports station in the country. Sports Radio 810, WHB Kansas City, the power of sports.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Here are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm Scott Traylor. I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas this weekend for night number 2. Yes, night number 2 of the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. Not night number 3 as we'd anticipated. After night number 1 gets rained out. Kirk Elliott back at Racing Boys HQ, sitting in my chair, hopefully not eating any lunch in my chair. Kirk Elliott, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. No, I'm not eating anything right now. So it's all good. It's clean. It's clean now, here in your.
Let me ask you, Kirk, when you do the show every Saturday morning, you have a routine, right? You get up, you take your shower, you get ready for the show. Do you eat?
No, I don't eat before the show. I mean, there's no reason why I don't eat. I just don't. I eat after the show. I eat after the show.
Do you eat before the show?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I stop in and pick me up a breakfast sandwich and a drink on my way in.
And a lot of times, you have to pick your buddy up a sandwich.
I'll stop and I'll pick my boy up one too if he's in town. Mainly in the summertime, it doesn't happen as much, but yes, I take care of Scott on the way in as well.
Right. But those, this is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine, to be honest with you. I got to tell you, and I'm a little bit disappointed in Quick Trip. They're getting rid of my favorite breakfast sandwich over there.
You're going to get no more splits.
I normally get the square wrap and not the split sausage kind because I'm not a big fan of the split sausage, but the regular, normal square wrap, they're discontinuing it.
No more square wraps.
What is going on?
Is that because there's just not many people like you that order up something like that they're just not selling enough of them? Or
I'm not sure.
Or are they just changing just to be changing things?
They seem like they're always just as sold as many of those as all the other breakfast sandwiches. Maybe it's all going to be more to go.
Here's the thing. I think Quick Trip is in the process of becoming a restaurant.
Yeah, they're changing their format a little bit more.
They just remodeled the old style Quick Trip by my place.
Yeah, all of them.
See, the square wraps are made out of town or in a warehouse somewhere, and then they're shipped in.
That's
and then
a scary thought.
Right. So here's the thing. They're pretty good though, but here's the thing. They don't want to do that anymore. They want all their food made in house. So Quick Trip, if you're listening, figure out a way that you guys can make a square wrap in the store so guys like me that love them can still have them.
I'm sure they're listening to you right now. They're taking note.
I doubt I have any power at Quick Trip. I'm pretty sure of that, Kirk. Hey, Kirk.
Hey, what a race last night, huh?
Woo, boy, we just got that one in, didn't we?
Hey, Dale Howard, the last time he won a national tour race was the same weekend I started with you here on this show 21 years ago. June 3rd, 2000 was the last time Dale Howard won a national tour race in the ASCS. It was the first weekend that you and I were together. How about that? But
And
he
that
did
was
it
in
last
2000,
night.
June 3rd, 2000.
Yes. And you take a look at his record since he's not run the complete tour all these years, but he's won enough races in between that it is pretty big. It's 791 national tour events for Dale Howard since that time, and he has won for the first time. And he did it on the last lap, beating Ryan Timms, who was not happy at the end of that race. He's a kid that's used to winning now, and he was not a happy camper being passed on the last lap.
Well, it just so happens that last night, the glamorous life that we live, running up and down the road in this lovely motorhome of ours, we love to travel in it. It's great, but we are posted up in a Walmart parking lot about 3 miles down the street from I-30 Speedway. And it's just so happened last night, this is a pretty popular Walmart for the racing rigs after a race. And when I rolled in here last night, there was no less than 7 or 8 rigs. And one of those rigs happened to be Ryan Timms. And as you well know, Kirk, I'm pretty good friends with the crew chief of Ryan Timms, Jimmy Jones. And Jimmy was standing out there with Ryan and a couple other guys as they were doing the maintenance on their car, getting it ready to prepared for tonight's action over here at Hammer Hill. And sure enough, you could tell that Ryan Timms was still very, very much upset for giving up that race on the last lap. He said he didn't hear the winner until the last corner of the last lap. And I think that's what Howard did, Kirk. I mean, if you watched that race, you watched Howard sit back there and just stalk young Ryan Timms, and you could tell that he was a veteran of what he does. He waited until the last lap. He figured out where he was going to do it. Ryan gave him a little too much room. He took advantage of it. He went on to win the race on the last lap. Ryan Timms, very much, you could hear it in his interview last night, very much upset. And, I kind of like that about the kid. He's a 14-year-old kid. They say he's 15. He's 14. And here's the thing. The kid is just oozes with talent, right? But he's been on a bad run a little bit. You think about what happened to him up at Skagit. Not very good. Didn't look very good up there in the Pacific Northwest. He did stay back and run some California races after we were done up there, and I think he had some luck with that. And you think after you run a 410 race, the assumption is when you drive a 410 car and then you go back and you drive a 360 car, it seems like everything slows down a little bit. So I thought after coming out of a 410 or running some 360 stuff out in the West Coast that maybe he would come back here and he'd be a contender. In fact, Jeff, Scotty, and I always vote before the race on who we think is going to win. It's a private vote. We don't share it publicly. But I had the second pick, and I picked Ryan Timms to win. And I was shocked that Moore was able to get up there and get around him on the last lap the way he did. Were you surprised by that, Kurt?
Yeah, I was shocked. I thought, once Timms was out in front and getting down towards the end of the race that that was going to be that, but not to be. I saw Ryan Timms run a midget last weekend. I went over to Sweet Springs on Sunday night. And
he ran 7th, didn't he?
Yeah, he was in a midget car over there. So, So he's been in a lot of different situations this year, and just as you pointed out, he's only 14. And another way to put Dale Howard's last ASCS National Tour win in perspective, Ryan Timms was still 6 years yet to be born when Dale Howard last won his last National Tour race. How about that?
That's so funny. That is so funny. Well, listen, man, and you could see it on Howard's face last night too, right? I mean, he was very excited to win that race. He felt like he had a plan, and the plan was to pounce on him on the last lap if he had an opportunity, and he did it. He picked up the win, and it was a great win, by the way.
Tell me about Batesville Motor Speedway. This is a track. It's an iconic track in late model racing. That's where they had the Topless 100. That's big late model country down there. We had good car count last night, 34 cars in attendance for the sprint cars. Put on probably the best show that you'll see in sprint car racing at that racetrack. But tell me about that facility. I've always wanted to go there, but never been.
Well, it's got a little banking in it, It's 3/8 mile track, and it's where it's nestled out in the middle of nowhere. And listen, Kirk, we were very lucky to keep our internet last night because that was a stretch out there.
It was sketchy, wasn't it?
Nowhere. Yeah. It was a little sketchy. Yeah, it was a little sketchy, but we were able to get it all in. It pixeled up a couple times, but we were out in the middle of nowhere. And so anyway, long story short is that it turned out pretty good. I thought it was. I thought the broadcast came off pretty good last night. We had a few little hiccups behind the scenes, but nothing that we couldn't overcome. We've been doing this a long time. We've done a lot of broadcasts. Kirk and I have over the years. And whenever there's a problem, Kirk Kelly and I dig our heels in, and we figure it out, and that's what we did last night. So it all worked out for the best.
And tonight you're at Hammer Hill, I-30 Speedway. That's another iconic racetrack that we're more used to. We've seen a lot of National Tour events there, Short Track Nationals coming up there in October, but this be kind of a warm-up for that. But Blake Hahn has always seemed to do well at this racetrack. So do you think this is the night that he steps up and gets it done? I know Tim Crawley is racing this too, so there are some guys that know that I-30 Speedway pretty well that Blake Hahn would have to deal with tonight.
Well, there's a lot of guys that get around in this place pretty good. Scott Pakuski gets around here good. Let's not forget Jordan Mallett, who's racing with us this speed week. He was back with us last night up there at Batesville. So it was good to see him come back and run with us a little bit. And I think he had a solid top 5 finish, if I'm not mistaken, last night, Kirk, without going back and looking at it. But I believe Jordan Mallett came back in there. Broke his arm earlier this year, came back first race, won that race after having a broken arm, comes back up, runs with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour people, and did a fine job last night. Was able to get around Matt Covington late into the race. So
Mallett finished 7th in the feature.
7th.
Yeah. So you had Dale Howard, Ryan
Kurt?
Timms.
Where did Mallett start?
Mallett started in 16th position and ended up 7th.
He was coming up through the field, yes, sir.
Yeah, so you had Howard, Timms, Dylan Westbrook 3rd, Kobe Thornhill 4th, and Matt Covington 5th, and then Ryan Bickett and Jordan Mallett, Blake Hahn, Howard Moore, and Tim Crawley, your top 10. I was surprised that, of course, Tim Crawley started 21st and ended up 6th.
Well, he started,
he ended up 10th.
22nd, didn't he? Or was it 21st?
It says here 21st, ended up 2nd for the Crawley.
Well, listen, he had to come out of the B main, start at the back of the field, unlike his son who started up towards the front. Where'd his boy finish there, Kurt?
Who you talking about?
Crawley's son.
Crawley's son. Looking back, I don't see it right off the top here. So, he finished in 15th. Started 8th, finished 15th. Landon Crawley.
Not exactly where he wanted to finish, right. I'm sure.
So tonight at I-30, tomorrow night at the Ditch, West Memphis, Arkansas at Riverside. That was supposed to be on Thursday night. Then you got a night off, and then you go to Creek County Speedway on Tuesday, Wednesday at Caney Valley Speedway, next Thursday at 81 Speedway, Friday at the new Tulsa Speedway, and then it winds up a week from tonight at the Outlaw Motor Speedway in Muskogee. So you got a busy next few days coming up.
Yeah, we do, Kirk. Unfortunately, we got rained out on Thursday night, and we're going to go back over there on Sunday. There is a chance of rain on Sunday, so I'm not sure that we're going to get back there or not. But, yeah, the Sizzling Summer Speed Week, man, that's one of the toughest races of the year. You know, we had the Super Bowl Speedway on there. They took that off of the schedule after that young man lost his life down there in a micro race. So we're not going to that racetrack during Speed Week. So instead of being 9 races in 11 days, it is 8 races in 10 days. So that's pretty good.
We got a lot of sprint car racing to talk about. The All-Stars are in the Midwest. We'll talk about that coming up after the first break. But let's hear from Dale Howard, the winner from last night. Scotty Cook interviewed the veteran in Victory Circle after last night's feature event.
Oh, yeah. I tell you what, these young guys, they're really good, but this old guy can still take them to school. I waited to the last lap. I didn't want to pass him too early, make it interesting for the fans.
Some don't know, many in this game do know that this game that we all love snake bit your brother and your family a few years back, and how wonderful, beautiful it is every time we see you pull in the pit gate. But by God, you just won an ASCS national race, and your little brother is back home just grinning ear to ear.
He's watching it. I know he's watching it right now because he's got flow, and this is the first national win, ASCS win that I've gotten since he got hurt. So this win is for him.
How about that, ladies and gentlemen? A big round of applause. Real quickly, you stalked the very talented young man out of Oklahoma City the whole race. He left the door open for you early down here in turn number 3, but that showed you maybe the way later on if you had the shot.
Well, to be honest, we had good runs on the bottom, but every time I'd go to the top, my car would lock down. And these Mach 1 chassis, I'm telling you, ever since I've had one, they'll do that. Sometimes you'll just find right out in the middle of the slick, it'll lock down, and that's what we found out there tonight.
Oh, Mark Smith somewhere grinning ear to ear tonight.
I guarantee you he is.
All right, there he is, Dale Howard,
right.
Big winner last night.
Yep, that was a good one, and it really tightens up the point race now. Blake Hahn has a 9-point lead over Matt Covington and a 64-point lead over J.J. Hickle. I don't know what happened to Hickle last night, but at some point he come up with the left front flat. And to me, it appeared he either ran into somebody or he ran into the K-rail at the bottom of the racetrack when a lot of them were huggy pulling the bottom around there because it was real wet, real wide. They had 2 inches of rain the day before down there, so all the water had rolled down to the bottom of the track. It was a little more dominant down there. It's where Blake was making it work for him. We did see Matt Covington get up there and try to rip the top a few times, and it just seemed like for Dale Howard, there late in the race, as he mentioned in that interview, he could go to the middle, and that Mach 1 chassis would find a little grip up there. And he said every once in a while those cars, that Mach 1 chassis that Mark Smith builds, does that. And that's where he was making his ground, right through the center in the slick there into the race. And he ended up getting the win on the last lap. So nice job by Dale Howard. But great point race. Really, it's down to those 3 right now. I mean, you could look at Dylan Westbrook. He had a nice, fine run last night. He's starting to chisel down some of the points that he's back. He's 214 points out of the lead. He's got 8 top 5s, 11 top 10s out of 18 starts. That's not bad for stats wise, but he's going to need to pick up a couple wins, and hopefully some of the other guys have a little bit of bad luck between now and the end of the season for him to get back in this championship.
While we're on the ASCS, we have one other live broadcast last night on Racing Boys, and that was at the Big Sky Speedway out in Montana, first of 2 nights of the Frontier region at that racetrack. They're going to be at Sheridan, Wyoming on Sunday night. We'll have all of those races on Racing Boys. Phil Dietz, no, not that Phil Dietz, another Phil Dietz, won the feature event in the ASCS Frontier region last night out at Big Sky Speedway. That was a pretty good race, had good car count out there, and we'll do it again out there again tonight along with the race at I-30 Speedway this evening on Racing Boys.
And I think Chase Randall picked up the ASCS Elite victory down in Texas as well, non-wing sprint cars down there. So that was good to see him pick up a win. One of the other young kids that we talk about a lot. And didn't Ayrton Jennington nab $2,000 with the Sprint Invaders too this week, Kurt?
He did. Won a big race up at East Moline, Illinois this week. So good for him. He was with the All-Stars last night, had a top 10 finish with the All-Stars last night at Lake Ozark. We'll talk about that here in a little bit after Cap Henry's win at Lake Ozark last night.
Yeah, well, all I can tell you is it's good to see that, man. It's Ayrton is on his way to. He's on the fast track to being a big time sprint car driver. He keeps getting better and better and better and better. And you're going to hear a lot about this kid in the future. I think that he's going to get a World of Outlaw win before it's over. It depends on the circumstances, but listen, I think that he could get up there and And if everything falls his way, maybe a couple guys have a little bad luck. I mean, you're racing against the very best in the business when you race with World of Outlaws, right? I mean, you're racing against the best sprint car drivers in the world with the World of Outlaws.
He's developing about as well as any young driver that you'll see.
He really is.
Good for break.
Yep, for sure. All right, we're going to take a break. Kirk, are we going to get Ryan Ragland on here next?
We're gonna do him in the third segment.
Okay. All right.
Coming up, I want to talk about Williams Grove, big race in the Outlaws, and the All-Stars are in the Missouri area here this week.
Sheldon Hodgshaw picked up the win up there at the Grove.
At Williams Grove. So, that was a good race.
We'll do that when we come back. You're listening to Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It's made in America, sold to the world, and we couldn't be more proud to have them on board as our title sponsor here on Track Talk. We'll be back with more Kirk Elliott and myself, Scott Traylor, in a moment. Stay tuned.
Want the latest takes on all things sports in Kansas City? Go to 810WHB.com and check out our What's Happening page to see updates, hot.
What time would you like to get to your guest in the third segment?
Go ahead and repeat that. He had
conversation. We have new
what
exclusive
time,
videos and articles
right now on 810WHB.com.
Kansas City Sports.
About what time?
That's more
About
of the power of sports.
8:45.
Check out 810WHB.com today.
8:35.
Outdoor grilling season is here. Whether you need to upgrade your cooker,
sounds good. We'll just plan the break around 8:35.
Reload on the rubs. Get to the Kansas City Barbecue Store today with a great staff.
Yes, I did.
Help
Coming
an
here at the end.
experienced pitmaster or weekend warrior just looking to fire up his grill for the family. Come check out the true one-stop shop for your summer barbecue at KC Barbecue Store at 119th and Straight Line in Olathe.
Taking care of your car is a responsibility. It ensures the long life of your car and its expensive components. That's why Lucas Oil takes automotive protection so seriously. Lucas heavy-duty oil stabilizer bonds with motor oil to shield engines from heat and wear. So take pride in caring for your car and pass that pride and knowledge to the next generation for years of smooth, reliable driving on the long road ahead. Trust Lucas Oil. It works.
The Kansas City Comets are hosting their first ever 5K run walk on Saturday, August 21st outside Cable Dahmer Arena in Independence. Comets 5K participants receive a Comets medal and 2 tickets to an exciting exhibition match later that evening when the Comets take on Omaha Kings FC at 6 p.m. For Comets 5K race info, visit kccomets.com/5K, and for tickets to the match, call 888-9-COMETS or visit Ticketmaster.com. It's the KC Comets 5K run walk and preseason match coming up on Saturday, August 21st.
How can I make sure my office never stops working?
With Staples Connect, it's possible. I need to keep my back office stocked without messing up my bottom line. Also possible because Staples Connect has your small business covered with big savings on everything you need to get work done. This week, earn 30% back in a Staples store bonus when you buy any 2 ink cartridges, including HP. Explore what's new at your local Staples or staplesconnect.com. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. Limit 4, in-store only. Visit staplesconnect.com/store bonus for details and 724.
Hey, it's Grunny. Every Thursday night at 6, Crunch
Back
Time
in 1
Prime
minute.
Time is on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Me and my buddy Frank Bowe will bring you all the latest Chief news all season long. You know that I'm a big believer in CBD, so with a little bit of help from our presenting sponsor, American Shaman, we'll tell you a little bit about the latest products and their benefits. And if you want to try any of their great products, you can stop into any of the American Shaman stores for free samples. That's Crunch Time, Prime Time, Thursday nights, WHB.
Let's talk
in
about
30.
America. Not taxes or tweets or the issues that divide us, but how incredible our country is. Whether you come home to a crowded city street or sleepy small town, everyone deserves to live in a clean, green, and thriving community. We are Keep America Beautiful, the nonprofit working with millions of people like you to end littering, improve recycling, and beautify communities. Learn more at KAB.org. Together, we can do beautiful things.
Welcome back. It's Track Talk here on Sports Radio WHB. It's hard to believe, Kirk, you and I have been doing this. It's so funny that you talked about that in the beginning about we've been doing this since June 3rd, 2000, right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. What a run, Kirk.
The last time before Dale Howard won in the national tour,
And
up
that's
until
so
last
crazy.
night. And six years before Ryan Timms was born. Wow.
I think we've been doing this a long time, buddy.
Yeah.
I think we're going to.
It's been fun.
Maybe we'll ride off in the sunset together.
I don't know.
When it's all said
It's
and done.
fun. The most fun thing we do, Scott, is this show. I can tell you right now.
Oh, it is for sure.
Adam was
We enjoy it.
Adam was a freshman in high school.
Unless you drive till 3:30 in the morning to get up and then do the show.
Yeah,
then
getting
it's
up's not good after a short night of rest, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was a late night for sure, getting over here. But we followed Matt and Ashley Ward over here. We kind of run with them that way. Motorhomes run together. That way, if we have a problem, it all works out for us. We all get out and help each other. So it's nice to run with Matt. And Matt knows our motorhome as well as anybody. It was his motorhome before it was ours. So, yeah, good stuff, man. All right, Kirk, what do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the All-Stars. They were at Lake Ozark Speedway last night, the first of 2 nights. This is a touring series. We follow pretty closely. They mostly race out in Ohio and out east.
Listen, the
and
All-Stars
different places,
in today's world in the sprint car racing, dare I say, might rank number 2.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's very popular. We're seeing a lot of our guys that run with the national tour that are ready to get 410 experience. They work their way over there to the All-Stars in preparation for the World of Outlaws. So, I mean, there's a lot of great, talented drivers that run. I mean, we've got a few champions ourselves that run over there that ran with us. Aaron Reitzel's over there. Sam Haferteeth's over there. So it's a very tough series. Pays good money. And they get some good airtime through our friends over there at Flow Sports. They do a good job with their programming. So it's a pretty nice series and one that anybody'd want to be involved with. So I think that the All-Stars doing a great job. And
what a race last night. The last time.
I'm bummed out that I'm not back home to watch some of these races.
Yeah, when you're out on the road, it's tough to view all of it like I can back here at Racing Boys World Headquarters. But
you had to say you, huh, Kurt? You had to just rub it in, didn't you, buddy?
Well, it's hard. When you're out on the road and focused in on one series, it's hard to watch as much as I can sitting here.
That's
so
true. There is some truth to that.
But let's talk about that race last night. The last time we saw a wing sprint car race at Lake Ozark Speedway, it had rained a ton. Rained all through the month of May, and the track, they had to get a handle on it with all the rain and everything. It was rough, to say the least, when the Lucas Oil ASCS Tour was there over Memorial Weekend. But I got to tell you, last night, that track was in great shape. You had high and low. There was great racing action. It was smooth. And so hats off to the track prep at Lake Ozark Speedway last night, because that was some great wing sprint car racing that went on there last night. And Cap Henry won the race. He started on the pole, and if you're looking at the results, you're thinking, okay, Cap Henry won the race. He went out and led the whole way. No, that's not what happened. Tyler Courtney jumped into the lead. You're thinking once he got in front, there was nobody that was going to beat him at all, because he was ripping the lip up on the high side. But here's what Cap Henry did. He stuck it down to the bottom of the racetrack, and that's why he won. And he was committed to it, and he won the race. And there was one time he got up over the tire of Zeb Wise, and I thought, he's going to crash. And the car jumped up over the right, and I don't know how he kept from. I thought he was going to flip it. But he got around him, and then he was able to get down to the bottom of the racetrack. And he got committed to it in the late running, and he pulled out and held off Zeb Wise. Christopher Bell was there last night. He came from 14th to 3rd. Tyler Courtney ends up in 4th, and Gio Scelzi, who started on the outside of the front row, I thought he had a real good shot at winning this race. He ends up in 5th place. But, man, that was some great sprint car action last night at Lake Ozark, got to tell you.
And Gio Scelzi only led one lap and started up front.
Yeah, right.
Cap Henry led a couple laps after that. Then Tyler Courtney pretty much dominated that race.
He did. And you're thinking once he's out in front, that was
Right.
going to be that's it, you know.
Right.
But
when he got to around lap 17, 18, Cap Henry picked it up and he got by him, and he ended up leading the rest of the laps, the last 12 laps of that race.
Yeah. I mean, tremendous racing action last night at Lake Ozark Speedway. Corey Schutte won the non-wing sprint car feature over there last night, but they got another show there tonight. And then on Sunday night, they're going to be at Humboldt Speedway.
Yeah.
Tuesday night at I-70 Motorsports Park. This will be the first event since the Outlaws were there back in late April, early May. And then on Thursday night, they're going to be at the State Fair Speedway in Sedalia. Yep, they're going to have a race at the Missouri State Fairgrounds. Friday night at 34 Raceway in West Burlington, and then next Saturday night at Knoxville. So that's the tour for the All-Stars coming up here in the next few days.
I guess the guys that are running the fair are big fans of ASCS anymore. They jumped on the All-Star band.
Yeah, and it's not during the fair. So
right,
they didn't have a fair last year.
Right.
There was no Missouri State Fair last year, so
the action gets underway over there. Drivers' meeting will be at 6:30 and hot laps 7:15 at Humboldt on Sunday.
Yeah, so that's the weekend. So if you live here in the Kansas City area, that's some pretty good racing action going on. I was over at Sweet Springs on Sunday night for the Power Eye midget
It's been
race.
a while since you've been over there, hadn't it, Kirk?
Yeah, it's been a couple of years. I didn't get over there at all last year, so yeah, it's been a couple of years since I was over there. I was hoping to get over there the week before that, but the USAC midgets got rained out, but they still had last Sunday night's event. And after 13-year-old Brent Cruz won at Valley Speedway on Saturday night, on Sunday night it was all Cannon McIntosh. He dominated the event, so that was pretty good. Pretty good to be over at Sweet Springs and check out the races over there. They had the USAC midgets.
Good car count?
They had, I think, 24 cars over there. I mean, it had a pretty good field. So
24 total?
I think that's what they ended up with, yeah.
In all classes, 24
cars? No. 24 in the midgets at Sweet Springs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
But they had a micro class there as well. We saw Garrett Holsey run in the micro class. I think he ended up 6th in that race, so it was kind of fun watching Garrett Holsey, who is a Racing Boys team member.
Mm-hmm.
So, got out to the racetrack last Sunday night, so that was a lot of fun.
Didn't it?
How about last Saturday? You know, on this show a week ago, we were talking about what a big day at Eldora Speedway.
Mm-hmm.
And last Saturday at Eldora Speedway, you had Tyler Courtney winning the first of 2 Kings Royals, and then the show that Kyle Larson put on to win the second Kings Royal was unbelievable, the way he drove that race and won that big money. This is a month of money for sprint cars, but the show that Kyle Larson put on last Saturday night over there at Eldora, that was pretty special.
I know that we're going to be talking to Ryan Ragland here in a little bit about the Silver Dollar Nationals, but Stormy Scott, he's on the pole for the Silver Dollar Nationals.
He is. Got a couple of familiar, old, at one time, modified racers. Stormy Scott used to be one of the top racers in all of USMTS modified racing. He's now pretty much full-time on the late model circuit, and Chase Youngans will be on the outside of the front row. They didn't have a feature last night. They had heat races to determine the front row for tonight's Silver Dollar Nationals. It pays $53,000 to win. Oh, by the way, they had a $30,000 to win race on Thursday night, the I-80 Nationals, and Tyler Erb won that race. So the Kosiskis putting out a ton of money at I-80 Speedway this week.
Right. I want to give a shout-out to Justin Grant as well. He picked up the 100-lap Rich Fogler Classic at Winchester. So good job by Justin Grant on doing that as well.
Indiana Sprint Week got rained out last night at Gas City. They had got the qualifying in, and that was it. Started raining So they're going to try it again tonight at Kokomo Speedway. So Indiana Sprint Week going on right now, too.
Yeah. Hey, did you see where Chase Elliott entered the BC 39?
How about that?
That's good, isn't it? Yeah,
hey, how about
break?
How about Eric Almirola winning that Cup race at New Hampshire last week? He was way down in 27th position in the points. He wasn't going to make the playoffs at all, and he wins. That's shocking to me what he did.
Yeah.
We'll hopefully get a hold of Lee Spencer, talk more about that in hour 2.
All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk Silver Dollar Nationals with our roaming reporter and great friend of the Race Boys, Ryan Ragland. That's next, right here on Track Talk on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Brian Pringle with Victory Ford at the Legends in KCK. Victory Auto Group has joined a nationwide network of auto dealers looking to purchase inventory that collectively bid for your vehicle. Would you like to know what they are willing to pay for your car, whether you buy another or not? For your simple, no-hassle quote, just text your name to 913-229-6384. You can also visit us at the Legends Auto Plaza on the southeast corner of 435 and Parallel, or online at victoryfordkc.com. Victory Ford, where our first price is better than their last.
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas Fuel Treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system, pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. It works.
Sports Radio 810 is proud to be Kansas City's home for the National Football League.
Diggs to the left at the 5, lowers his shoulder into the end zone. Touchdown, Buffalo.
Mahomes flunks it, wide open, Kelsey, touchdown. From Monday night to Sunday night and every game in between, keep it right here on your exclusive home for the NFL, the NFL playoffs, and the Super Bowl. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Have you heard? Olathe Kia is under new ownership. Come check out the new Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia. They've got a large selection of models, including the popular 2021 Kia Soul, the fuel-efficient 2021 Forte, and the first-ever 2022 Carnival with seating for up to 8 passengers. Plus, all are backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Shop OlatheKia.com and save on your next vehicle. Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia, just a short drive from I-35. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Back in one.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. It's Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, the most powerful radio station in the country. And we're so proud to be here now over 2 decades on this great radio station. Kirk Elliott, myself, we're the Racing Boys. I'm Scott Traylor. He's Kirk Elliott. And joining us on the line right now is a good friend of ours. He's been helping us out a lot here lately, and we so appreciate it. Ryan Ragland is up at I-80 Speedway in Greenwood, Nebraska, where it's the Silver Dollar Nationals going on. Stormy Scott has claimed the pole for that race. Let's bring in Ryan now. Ryan, how you doing, my friend?
What kind of odds do you think I could have gotten in Vegas if I would have said Stormy Scott and Chase Younghans was going to be on the front row?
I wouldn't have taken those odds at all. After Tyler Erb and Brandon Overton and drivers like that, what they've been doing here this week. No, I wouldn't have chosen those drivers at all.
Yeah, but the odds you would have gotten have been astronomical. I even talked to Chase about that, kind of joked a little bit, and he goes, I could have been a pretty rich man about right now if I would have taken those. But, pretty much was surprised with those two being on the front row after Brandon Overton winning on Tuesday and then Tyler Erb winning on Wednesday and then taking the 30,000 on Thursday. And Erb didn't have too bad of a night, and Overton kind of the same. And the track was pretty fast. It didn't lock down. You could either run really high or low, but it kind of looked like you had to have your car set up for either or. But I'll tell you what, Steve Siski does one heck of a job trying to keep that track going. And I talked to him, between 250 and 300,000 gallons of water these 5 days to keep that track going.
Well, what they don't understand about that racetrack up there, man, the wind really blows up there, doesn't it? And when it does, it'll dry that track out in a heartbeat. So Steve knows what he's doing to keep that thing good and juiced up and make sure that you got good grip. It's not going to be, for the most part, it's not much of a dust fest up there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, if you want to know what it takes, I did an interview with Steve last year, and we did it inside the water truck, and it's still on the Racing Boys YouTube page. So if you go into it and you can search it and find Steve Yasiski, I think probably like a 12, 15-minute interview, and it was pretty enlightening, and it was pretty interesting. And, he was talking with Steve Francis yesterday, and they were kind of talking, what they want to do and kind of roll the top on between which heats or series or whatever. And so the communication between competition director and the track, prep and all that is key too. And it's the track is like, you want to say in the middle of the field or something, but there's, it's like Western Kansas. There's not much wind resistance out there. And once it gets going, it'll have a big effect.
You'd have to say in dirt late model racing, this event in its short history, it started in 2011, has developed into maybe the largest crown jewel dirt late model racing event outside those races at Eldora Speedway. I mean, and maybe the North-South 100 would be still above this, but the Silver Dollar Nationals has evolved in a short period of time into one of the 3 or 4 biggest crown jewel events in all of dirt late model. Maybe have to throw Knoxville in there too, so it'd certainly be in the top 5 now for sure.
Well, when you have a 5-day show and you're putting up a purse in excess of $500,000 in those 5 days, that pretty much solidifies it and tells you, where Kosiskis have taken this. And plus, you got to think about, these guys are sitting there in the track for 5 days. They don't have all that extra fuel burn off. So this is a time where these guys can get some races in. They really don't have to worry about the travel time. If something happens, they have time to work on their cars and stuff. And I think it's a win-win for everybody.
They've had a lot of rain out, so they need the money right now.
They need the money they have. And I was talking with James Essex, the voice of the Lucas Oil Late Model Series, and he said they've had so many rainouts that, sometimes it's just, it makes it hard on the drivers because they do all the drive time and, they're out the money. They can't do anything about it.
Don't we know? We rolled in here about 3:30 this morning, so it's hard on the teams, much harder on the teams than it is us broadcasters, but you're right.
Yeah.
A lot of beating up and down the road. People don't understand what it takes to be a professional race car driver driving up and down the road. People think it's such a glamorous life. There's not a lot of glamour involved in this life, folks. It's a lot of like what we're doing today.
At the track.
Waking up in Walmart parking lot. We do a lot of that when we're out here on the road. Hey, I want to Jerome, he's giving us a shout from Clear Lake, South Dakota. He said he's going to be up at I-80 tonight for the final night of the Silver Dollar Nationals. So Jerome, thanks for tuning in. We got our regular listeners up in Wisconsin hanging out with us as well. We'll just want to make sure that everybody knows that we got people. Guys, Ryan was up there. He's up there in Omaha right now talking to us on the phone. So Ryan, what was the biggest surprise to you so far up at I-80 with the Silver Dollar Nationals?
I'd say without a doubt it's got to be Stormy and Chase. I'll tell you the one thing that was kind of surprising, and when I did an interview with Chase and Stormy, and Chase talked about it. He started tail in his heat on the first round. He comes out of turn 2, and he's in like 3rd or 4th place when he's starting 9th. And he said it was just like, the best way I can translate it, parting of the Red Sea. So there was a lane there, and I took it, and what are you guys doing? And that was what really catapulted him into points, leading the points after the first round. I think that, some people really wouldn't look at it, but the speed of the track last night didn't seal over, didn't, rubber down really, really hard. But, man, those guys are just driving it in the corners, and it's amazing on how hard they're on the brakes. And Ricky Weiss at one point, you almost looked like he had flames coming from his left rear brake cylinder, just as hard as he's getting on it. And, the crowd is incredible, the support that they get for that. I would have to say Stormy and Chase are the biggest surprise, but I'll tell you one thing that was kind of nice, and I was kind of looking back at this yesterday. In the second round of heats, you had Terry Phillips and a guy by the name of John Anderson running Chase Younghan's backup car battling for a spot. Anderson. How long has it been since you've had Terry Phillips and John Anderson running for a spot? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that brings back some old memories, doesn't it? John Anderson, multi-time MLRA champ.
Well, not only that, remember the one night, Kirk, we followed him with cameras the night he locked up the championship. It was, 10 or 12 years ago, down at Nevada Speedway. Can't remember who he was battling it out. Was it Jason Botenhammer, I think it was, wasn't it?
I think so.
He was battling it out for the championship that year. And you could go to our YouTube page and punch in Behind the Wheel and follow us as we mic up John Anderson and his crew chief, and we follow him all night long. And a lot of drama at the end of the night when John Anderson spins out but doesn't lose his forward momentum and is given the lead back and goes on and wins the championship. There's a little drama after that. So if you want to look that up, it's called Behind the Wheel with John Anderson. It's on Racing Boys YouTube page. It's pretty good stuff.
Hey, we're going to hear from Stormy Scott and also Chase Younghans. Ryan did a couple of interviews. We'll play those coming up in the second hour. But, I'm looking at this lineup, Ryan, and, you take a look at Brandon Overton, who doubled up the Dream, won all that money at Eldora in June. He's going to have to start on the outside of the 9th row of tonight's 80-lap feature event. It's going to be real interesting to see how he's going to work his way up through the field. You've got Tyler Erb, who won the 30 grand on Thursday night, starting on the inside of row number 5, and Jonathan Davenport, who won the Diamond Nationals at Lucas Oil Speedway last week. He will start on the inside of the 4th row. Boy, you see a lot of different drivers that are kind of sprinkled throughout this whole field that have got a lot of speed in their cars. It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to be able to. We've seen cars come from the back to the front in this race before. So the history of the action in the Silver Dollar Nationals is legendary just about every year in this race.
Hey, Ryan, what happened to Scott Bloomquist? I see he's starting on the 8th row inside. He's back there pretty deep in the field. What happened to him, and do you think he can work his way up through the field?
He looked pretty good in the second heat. He was sitting outside with Chase Younghans in the second round of heats. Ended up getting around Chase and taking the win on that one. There was a couple guys that I was talking to, and they were talking about, how the track was doing this and wasn't allowing pass and everything. And I went, what are you talking about? Look at these lap times. These lap times are so close to each other that it's like these guys are running identical times. And it's not that you can't pass or anything. It's that these guys are running so well, so fast, that it makes it hard. So then you try to tweak something or or whatever to try to get a little bit more of advantage, and sometimes you may end up backing yourself up a little bit. Ryan Gustin was set in the back row, and his car was pretty fast. It was hard to get around. When you take a look at what was one of the heats that I was looking at, and I mean, okay, we'll just take the first one, the first heat. You've got Brian Shirley, Tim McCready, Chris Ferguson, Tyler Erb, Earl Pearson Jr. in your heat. Okay, that's fine and dandy, but Ricky Thornton broke his car. He had a problem with the car in his first heat, and he was going to have to get around Tim McCready, Brandon Overton, and Jonathan Davenport in his second round of heats just to try to get a win to have the best spot of getting the pole on the B. Well, I'm sorry, you're taking a look at the points leader, the hottest driver in the nation right now, and a 3-time Lucas Oil late model champion in Davenport. What do you want? These guys are the best in the world. And, right. Even guys like Scott Bloomquist, they sit in the back. It's going to be a chore to get up front, and your starting position ends up being key. His second round race when he got around Chase looked pretty good.
Well, I think you hit on it. That was the impression that I got watching the race on Thursday night, is that there's nothing wrong with the racetrack. I mean, there was grooves high and low. It's just the competition level is just, these guys are so even right now.
They're so tight. It's incredible watching the lap times on the scoreboard when they're doing the hot laps, and they're not fluctuating any more than maybe with the top drivers, they're not fluctuating any more than maybe 2 or 3 tenths a lap. And that's just how it is. It makes it tough.
Man, I'm sitting here looking at this B main. It's 12 laps. Only 4 cars are going to transfer out of that 12-lap B main. And you look at some of the names that are starting up at the front of this deal. Terry Phillips, Chad Simpson, Ryan Gustin. I mean, there's some John Anderson's there in the third row. You can go back there and look a little bit deeper. You might find a couple guys that are pretty fast. Who do you think out of those guys that are starting up in the front of that B main?
You got 2 B mains too, by the way.
Oh, 2 B mains.
Yeah.
But the one, B main number 1, who do you think are the most likely to transfer out of that first B main?
Oh Lord! If you look at it, I got to be thinking out of the first one. I got to go Phillips and Gustin. Don't turn your head on Tad Poschwitzel. Starting inside row 3 from Norfolk, Nebraska. That guy's been strong all week. Chad Simpson, I think if they do a little bit more tweaking with Anderson,
5
he'd be able to get up there, and that'd be a pretty good foursome to transfer into the A.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Richards leads the group out of B main number 2. He's struggling just to get up towards the front right now, isn't he, in Clint Boyer's car?
Yeah, they've been struggling for a little bit. I believe he took second at Diamond Nationals with a good run. But the one thing you have to remember are the transitions this track is going to go through with the 80 laps. You can sit there and they will probably do some work on the track just before they get going for the 80 laps, and you're going to go through phase. You're going to go through transition. The high line's going to come and go. The low line's going to come and go. He's got the Rocket chassis. I'm sure he's, in tune with like Brandon Shepard drives the house car for Rocket. I mean, his dad builds the Rocket chassis. So, they're always talking. I would say Richards didn't look too bad, but I would say out of the second one, Richards, Ferguson, you got Frank Hackenett Jr., Ricky Thornton, I think can be dangerous. He'll be starting 4th row outside, and
that's who I'm keeping my eye on, Ricky Thornton Jr.
Yeah, exactly. He had a great run at Lucas Oil, and they never really did figure out what happened to the car. It was just really laying down on his heat race, and he said it was getting worse and worse. And of course, it let go on the last lap, and they were looking at it, kind of scratching their head. Before they even had the car parked, they already had the backup car pulling out of the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
all right.
Quick, before I forget, got to get an honorable mention. Glad this guy was okay. Dusty Leonard out of Marysville, Kansas, between Manhattan and Topeka, went for a wild ride. Coming out of turn 3, and I asked him what happened. He said the wheel just got away from him. Car went straight up to the wall. He rode the wall for a second, and it looked like the nose caught the part of the fence. He did an absolute clockwise 360, landed back on his wheels, and the front end of his car was like basically gone.
And tore out a lot of fence.
Tore out a lot of fence. They probably, I think it was like a 20-minute, half-hour red flag, just trying to do what they can to repair the section to make it workable for, Lucas Oil officials they were happy with. But that was the worst wreck of the night for him, and basically the only one that they had for the late models. But yeah, it was scary for a second, because when the car just literally for a second, you could see the top of the car when he was riding the wall before he got snagged up on the fence.
All right, Ryan, it's your time to pick. We'll all make our picks here. Who do you think is going to win tonight's Silver Dollar Nationals?
80 laps, a lot of time. You're going to have some cautions. I'm going to go. I'm going to
2 minutes.
I'm going to box Brandon Overton and Tyler Erb until someone can beat those guys this week. They're going to be pretty tough for the big.
How about you, Kurt?
Well, I'm a Tim McCready fan. He's had a rough of bad luck here lately, and I'm thinking this is the night he steps up and wins his second Silver Dollar Nationals. Tim McCready. Nobody's talking about him.
I can't bet against Jimmy Owens starting on the second row
90.
Inside. So I'm going with Jimmy Owens. Yep.
He was looking good. He was ripping the lip last night. He was liking it.
Yeah. Well, man, you got to have 2 grooves to make for a good race, so that's good. All right, Ryan, thanks so much for everything you do for us, buddy. We appreciate it. You've been a hard worker and dedicated part of Racing Boys, and it means a lot to us, man. Thanks so much.
Well, thanks for the guys for the opportunity of coming up. It's one of the things I look forward to, and, hey, this isn't work. This is just enjoying what I like.
Everybody looks forward to the Silver Dollar Nationals.
Until you travel up and down the road every week for 13 years, then you get back to
60 seconds.
All right.
Exactly.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. There's Ryan Ragland up at Greenwood, Nebraska's I-80 Speedway Silver Dollar Nationals. Kirk, tell everybody about our broadcast coming up this week.
We've got 2 live broadcasts tonight. I-30 Speedway, night 2 of the Sprint Week, presented by Smiley's Racing Products, and also the Frontier region out of Big Sky Speedway. 2 more races tomorrow night as well on Racing Boys.
30.
And all next week. We're busy this next week.
All right. Hey, and don't forget hour number 2 coming up exclusively on our Facebook page, Twitter account, YouTube. You can watch it on our website as well. For Kirk Elliott, for Todd Surprise, for Adam Bartlett and Ryan Ragland, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us here on Track Talk, and we hope that you'll join us right around the corner on one of our social media platforms. Good day, everyone.
Rock and roll, man. Thanks, brother.
City, Stephen St. John here for Window
Good
Nation.
job, man.
Are you...
Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You have a good weekend, all right, Markham?
You guys
Taking
as well.
care
Have
of your
a
car
good
is
second hour.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
It ensures the long life of your car and its expensive components. That's why Lucas Oil takes automotive protection so seriously. Lucas heavy-duty oil stabilizer bonds with motor oil to shield engines from heat and wear. So take pride in caring for your car and pass that pride and knowledge to the next generation for years of smooth, reliable driving on the long road ahead. Trust Lucas Oil. It works.
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas Fuel Treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system, pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. It works.
End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Shirt Specialty Sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other ad specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.
Alumatech Products is the premier aluminum cabinet company as well as custom aluminum trailer manufacturer. They specialize in custom cabinetry and production units. All the cabinets are built in-house by exceptional craftsmen. Alumatech Products also offer truck caps that are built from the ground up, starting with a framework all the way to a complete build. The folks at Alumatech are driven to produce quality, long-lasting products through innovative design to best suit you. For more information, go to alumatechproducts.com.
Missouri's must play getaway. Osage National Golf Resort.
3 9-hole courses to choose from at the Lake of the Ozarks in the Osage River Valley. Stay and play packages in our first-class condos. A beautiful clubhouse complete with pro shop and exercise facilities. A large pool for relaxation and families. The Eagle View Sports Bar and Grill. Great wedding facilities. Go online and make your tee time today.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, SprintCarStuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
We not only look to the future, we design it. Our excellence and professionalism in craftsmanship, quality, and safety is unmatched in the industry. We are proud suppliers to some of the most elite race teams in the world. We build it, you drive it. We are here to help you win.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you're listening to Racing Boys, and if you ain't listening to them, you get out of the country because you're a communist. I love the Racing Boys. Like Mater says, they make me happier than a tornado in a trailer park. You know, the funny thing about that is the Larry voice and the Mater voice are exactly the same. Get her done!
Welcome to Hour 2 of Track Talk on the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. Here again are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Check your mic.
And I'm watching Scott Trailer. His mouth
Hey, hold
is
on
moving.
there. I turned the mic off there.
Your
Sorry
mouth
about it.
was
Welcome back-
moving, but I couldn't hear anything out of it.
Welcome back, everyone, to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm Scott Trailer. I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas. Kirk Elliott back at Racing Boys HQ, hanging out with Adam and Todd. And what was our new guy back at 810 today? What was his name?
Marco.
Marco. We want to thank
Marco
Marco for helping.
Marquez.
Marco Marquez. He helped us do the pre-race show at Kansas Speedway last year, so we've had him on a couple times, but this
Yeah,
is
he
the
did a
first
good
time
job.
for Track Talk, so
Did
we
a good
appreciate
job.
it.
Yeah. Good job
He
by him.
can't hear us
and-
again right now, but he did a good job.
Right. Well, that's okay. That's all right. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Trevor Smith, who's listening in from Melbourne, Australia today. And he's supporting J-Mac, so we want to give
cool.
him a shout out as well.
How about that? Australia.
Australia.
Taking care of
Hello?
your car is a
Whoa,
responsibility.
what's that?
It ensures
We got a commercial running.
That's
there.
what happened last week, and it happened again.
Well, I hate
It's
it when that
the
happens.
darn computer updates. That's what does it.
Those damn fat fingers.
Those damn
Well,
computer
it's-
updates.
The computer does these updates, right? And they change how they used to just leave things how they were. Just leave my computers alone. Don't do no updates to my changing things. Just not good.
Well, you're coming away my way of thinking.
I don't understand why they change something every week. You only get 2 weeks out of something. They change it now. Just
So Todd,
Yeah.
you were in Facebook jail this week, buddy, and a lot of people come to your rescue. What the hell was going on there?
Wasn't that terrible?
What did you do to get? Listen, you're a little radical on Facebook sometimes.
Yeah, but I may not agree with everything that's said on there, even from Todd, but I think he should have the right to say it.
Yeah.
No, you didn't hear me just say that. You didn't say you shouldn't say that, Todd, because that's not right.
you just told me.
I'm just saying.
You just
that,
acknowledged it.
you know. Yeah, but I mean, in today's world, listen, Todd. Here's what I've learned about here in this year. All right, I'm going to tell you, there's been a very big learning curve for me this year. I won't go into all of it, right? But you can't react to every little thing.
That's right.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
If you try to react to every little thing that goes on in your life, you're going to get spun out. You're going to bring yourself down.
Wear yourself out.
Wear you out mentally. Who knows? And then people do stupid things when they're not in the right frame of mind, right? So listen, I hope I don't have to worry about your health. You good?
No, I'm good on health wise. Yeah. No, this is an algorithm thing that has happened. It's weird. It's not like I said anything. I've been put in this thing twice on something that I've copied and pasted that was already on Facebook. That's what's funny. It just like you could post it, but since I've already on probation, therefore it gets flagged faster on mine, and so therefore I found a way around it. You just
So Todd, let me ask you this: are you a criminal on Facebook?
Yeah, I'm a 5-time offender, but I've also learned that I've only been in Facebook jail for 7 days. Apparently, there's people that go in for 30 days and 60 days, and then
That's
Trump
next.
gets. Well, I don't do what those people do. I don't spread misinformation. I don't post.
Who gets to decide what's information and what's not?
Well, the people that run the page. It's their group. If you join the Boy
Yeah, but
Scouts,
how do they know what's true
Hold
and
on.
what's not?
I'm sure they got a rules book somewhere.
Yeah, just like the Boy Scouts, you can do some
Right.
things, you can't do everything, right? So, but what happens is you get placed on an algorithm type thing, and so anything that gets flagged, like it was just a silly meme that got put up that said that I body shamed somebody, and you guys know me, I don't body shame anybody. I wouldn't call somebody fat or big-headed.
So
or
hold on
anything
now.
like that.
Let's get off that subject and let's talk about the people that came to your rescue. What's that all about?
I even had a baseball coach come up to me last night. How funny was that? Hey, I was going to throw some money in. I was like, well, if there's an actual fund that you can throw money into.
Did you have to pay to get back
No,
on
that
baseball?
was our big joke. But it was funny. Once I posted that, I had some people actually reaching out. They thought I was in real jail. Some people that aren't as fluid on Facebook. People like Kirk, not Kirk, but I'm talking about people that don't use Facebook as their daily
People like Kirk.
You know, and so they reached out to my wife. Is everything okay? And do you need some money? Because Jennifer said as soon as she could raise the $200, she would bail me out. Well, we had people calling from my past reaching out to get me out of jail, but I wasn't actually in jail. I was actually working in the yard this week and getting things done. I had a long week last week. You know, I drove straight back from Louisiana, and then as soon as I got home, I was in jail. So it worked out pretty good.
Well, I support you, Todd.
I appreciate it.
I may not agree with a lot of what you say, but I support your right
like
to
I
say
said,
it.
it wasn't anything. It was where I get in trouble is on our
You're
local
a bad boy.
On our local news feed. That's where I get in trouble at. It has
listen.
nothing to do with what I post on my personal page.
Is Adam there with you?
He is here.
I want him to turn on his mic here real quick.
Yes, sir.
Adam, how you doing,
I'm
bud?
good. How's it going, Scott?
Are you in Facebook jail,
Adam? Turn your mic up just a tad there.
Turn it up.
Soft spoken.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
better.
Are you in Facebook jail, Adam?
I'm not.
Listen,
Okay.
Adam, we all know that Todd wants to be a rock star in the worst way. Now, it's not a secret. He's got the look. He's got everything that goes with it. He just needs to be the rock star. But I think he's becoming a rock star on Facebook.
I think, yeah, I would agree with that. I think so, too.
Yeah.
He's getting the attention, isn't he?
He listen, if you can't be a rock star by noodling away, then might as well be a rock star on Facebook.
I saw that. Yeah,
Is
pulled up that.
anything wrong with that, Todd? You being a rock star on Facebook?
I'll take it however I can get it.
Right. That's right, buddy.
Did you see
Take
my
it whatever way?
If you want to see my new rock star look on my Facebook page,
I saw that.
So
What in the hell is that?
That's my new outfit.
My God,
You like that?
It looked like it was straight out of the 70s.
Kirk hasn't seen it yet, so it's a cross between Steven Tyler and Rob Zombie, is what I've been told. Is what people have been.
Oh, is that what it would be?
That's what I've been
Yeah,
hearing.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
I
Kenny
appreciate
chimed
guys.
in. He said, for everyone listening, who do you support? I have a few. Of course, Ryan Timms, my son, works for him. Sprint Midget, also Hummer Motorsports. Alex Bright, Sprint's Micros. Gavin Boucher, and then Alex Rubert in the Micro. He likes to keep his eyes on the up and coming drivers. Man, I mean, listen, it was funny the other day, Kirk. There was a bunch of us just kind of standing around shooting the bull, you know, when we didn't get that race in on the first day. We sit here and think, has there ever been a better time? And this is a great question for the people that are out there listening right now that are open wheel fans, first and foremost. Is this a great time for the maybe the best core group of young and up and coming drivers that we've ever seen, period?
I think so. I mean, I was out at Sweet Springs last Sunday night, and I'm watching a ton of, really young drivers out there, and they're developing and getting better and better all the time. Yet Brent Cruz at 13 win at Valley last Saturday night.
I know
He
it.
finished in 5th place in the feature at Sweet Springs, and so he's a driver you want to keep an eye on. And there are just so many young kids, and a couple of them are getting good rides. And Keith Kunz Motorsports cars too, and so Keith Kunz sees the talent that these young kids have got as well. And if they're in good equipment, they're going to really shine.
Right. Well, the thing about it is, who do you root for? There's so many good ones.
Gavin Michelle is another one. He's a kid that finished 4th the other night. He's a young kid out of Mooresville, North Carolina. I mean, this kid can drive. You're going to know this name, Gavin Michelle.
Oh, for sure. Kirk, we need a good lady driver, though, to come up through the ranks right now.
Kaylee Bryson finished 2nd at Sweet Springs the other night. She had a rough go of it out at Fairbury, but she had a good run at Sweet Springs. She started in 7th and ended up in 2nd behind Cannon McIntosh at Sweet Springs. So I was really impressed with what Kaylee did on Sunday night.
I'm drawing a blank, Kirk. Who is the young girl that does really good in the micro? What's her name? We saw her race out at
Jade Abedisian. She won that big money at
Jade is going to be a
Abedisian.
driver.
She won the big money at Sweet Springs a year ago. 20 grand.
Keep an eye on that young lady right there.
Right.
I think she's got some real talent.
I do too. She won.
Yeah.
She won it at the Tulsa Shootout, did she not?
Shootout, right? Yes, she did. Yeah.
So she's got it going on. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, there's just a ton of young talent out there that is going to be fun to watch. Haley Deegan, running in NASCAR, she's growing and getting better, and she ran that SRS series, and she didn't have such a great finish at Nashville last weekend, but she did well at Knoxville on the dirt.
Right.
So, she's another young driver. Keep your eye on.
I'm not, Kenny. I just got to ask you. I'm not exactly clear. Is this a question or something that we said? So if you could clarify it for me. Kenny said they are young and they seem to really love it. No one is forcing them into racing. Did we say anybody was forcing somebody into racing? I don't.
I never even talked about that.
I don't remember.
That's not even a topic of discussion.
No. But listen, man. I'm out here on the road. I've been doing this 13 years. I love Kirk. Me and you talk all the time privately, right? It's going to be a tough day the day I have to call it a day and get off the road, isn't it? You know that, right?
Well, it all ends for us at some point or another.
It really does.
we don't last forever.
That's right.
Hey, before we bring up Lee in, I just want to put out a call. If anybody has seen Drake Brunswick, who is the new voice of the United Rebel Sprint Series, if anybody has seen him, let us know. Rick Salem's looking for him too, because we were supposed to have the live audio last night from US 36 Raceway, but the announcer, Drake Brunskirk, never showed up at the racetrack last night. So if anybody's seen him, let us know. We're worried about him.
Yeah. For sure. Okay, let's bring in Lee Spencer, our own Lee Spencer. She's the very best in the business when it comes to not only covering NASCAR, but she's even better, I think. She's really into what's going on in the open wheel world of sprint car racing, wing, non-wing, midget racing. She just has her pulse on just about everything. She joins us now on the show. How you doing, Miss Lee?
I can't hear Lee.
There, now we got you now, Lee.
I think so. How are you?
How you doing?
We're doing great.
You got hey, lovely earphones. I like that.
It's just easier to hear since we're all kind of deaf, right?
Yeah.
The older we get, I'm the most deaf person of all here. So.
There's no question you're the most deaf person of the group.
I'm deaf.
That was
deaf
too
and
easy.
blind.
I'm biting my tongue.
I'm deaf and blind both.
Well, you're not as blind as you used to be. You're better off now. Lee, have you been watching some sprint car racing?
Oh my gosh, there's been a lot of sprint car watching to watch. It kind of disappointed Gas City got rained out, but then it made it easier to flip over the All-Stars earlier than I anticipated. So
that was a great show, was it not?
Oh, that was fun. That was a good time, and I think the big mover and charger in that deal was Christopher Bell. I think he gained like 11 spots, but I have to. I don't know. Honorable mention has to go to Zeb Wise because he saved that car more times than I care to count. I mean, there were times when you thought Zeb was just done, and he'd come back like Jason in Friday the 13th, and it was just crazy. But I mean, his machine took a licking. I'll say that.
Yeah, Cap Henry got up over. That was amazing. Cap Henry got up over the rear tire of Zeb Wise and kept it going. He ended up winning the race.
Oh, those two. It was such a cat fight between those two, or dog fight, I should say. Cat fight would have been more fun, but
that would have been a little better.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought that was those two put it on last night. Where World of Outlaws, Sheldon just kind of ran away from it, from the field to win last night at Williams Grove. But I thought the best racing was the All-Stars race last night.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
When I get off the road, Kirk, I'm gonna do just what you do. I'm going to sit down there in that studio and I'm going to stare at those TV.
It's your house.
Well, it is my
Wow,
house.
it's your
That's besides the point. But I definitely want to get back there because, when you're out here doing what we do, you just kind of lose track. You got to go back and read everything. You don't see all the video highlights. There's a lot of clips out there. Just don't have a chance to, when you go to bed at 3:30 in the morning, you don't have much time to get up and take a look at all the highlights from the night before. So, yeah. Anyway.
You do need to watch the Cap Henry little incident early on because it was just remarkable that he came back from that. And I'm surprised that there weren't more cut tires and stuff with all the debris that got scattered. But, great to see Christopher Bell getting a hall pass and out running where he loves to race on dirt. So that's
what the hell happened there? Why was he allowed to run that race? Have you found out any more about the do's and don'ts of what Christopher Bell can do in a car?
I mean, I wrote about it, I guess it was last week, but I'm still, I don't know. I don't think I'm ever going to get a straight answer. At least, and Bell's probably smart to keep his mouth shut because he knows who, which side
out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, he knows which side his bread's buttered. But my God, Alex Bowman for a long time was like, okay, I'm not going to do this because it's going to take away from my main job. And he was just happy to have a gig, right? To be part of that Hendrick stable. But I will tell you, it's like ever since Larson got out there and has kicked everybody's butt, they really need to find places and ways for these guys to catch up. And you either have talent or you don't, but I do think it'll keep you fresh. And it's I give Chase Elliott all the credit in the world for kind of going ass backwards in his development, right? All of a sudden now he wants to run midgets and he's going to run the BC 39, which I think is pretty phenomenal. But he doesn't mind going out there and have his ass handed to him by people who have been doing this for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's what a day at Eldora Speedway last Saturday. He had Tyler Courtney winning the first of the Kings Royals. And then last Saturday night, the show that Kyle Larson put on was legendary. Let's just
but I
say
still
that.
think King Sunshine, you've called him Sunshine for years, but I think King Sunshine has a much better ring to it, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That was such a...
and then to see the love fest between him and Young Money, it was like... I don't know. It's somebody posed the question this morning on Twitter about if there was auto racing in the Olympics, who would you have sent to represent the U.S.? And the first person who pops in my mind is Kyle Larson, because whatever you throw at him, he can adjust to, and he runs well. And I think that's a talent, the kid's his innate talent, because you can't teach talent, you can't teach speed, right? If somebody doesn't have that, no fear factor or going fast, it's not something that they're going to learn. But it's like you're seeing all these other people kind of jump on and saying, hey, there's something about this discipline to dirt racing that can really up my game. And so, for Chase Elliott to go back, for Bell to be able to finally return where he loves, for Bowman, trying his hand at wing sprints, it just, the list just keeps going. Matt DiBenedetto, when he was on a Zoom call, I guess 2 weeks ago, said he wants to run Chili Bowl and he wants to run midget. So it's like a lot of people are getting turned on to this.
It's gonna happen until somebody gets hurt.
Listen, let me ask you this.
Oh, that was the negative aspect of it, Kurt.
Let's not talk about that. But is Kyle Larson opening the doors for other people to get their way?
Absolutely. Dave Byro, who's a friend of the show and a friend of Racing Boys, and has been great over the years, sending us all kinds of wonderful photography. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
He said, what do you want me to ask Bowman? I said, ask him about whether or not, Kyle has gotten him a reprieve. If Jeff Gordon running Hendrick Motorsports now has, made people see see what the potential is. Because if you guys remember, Jeff Gordon never ran dirt when he was driving the 24 car. And I almost think that was a disadvantage to him, because although everybody was afraid of him getting hurt, and let's face it, Leffler's accident scared a lot of people during that time, because here was a guy who did go back and forth.
Hold on. And Shane Neal, to be fair.
Oh, absolutely. And Shane, and let's not forget what happened to Tony, right, at Oski, right?
Right.
So I think when you start throwing all these, okay, this happened, it gave the owners quite a basis in their theory as to whether or not it was safe enough for their guys to go do this. But is it riskier, driving a midget than it is going to the movies on Saturday night? Hell yeah, it is. But
it is a lot dangerous. A lot more dangerous.
But ultimately, if you cut somebody off completely from what they love doing, they're going to be miserable. And I think when you see the before and after of Bell having, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s in the 3 races since they've taken off his chastity belt, that he's actually been allowed to go out there and kick ass and really start to realize what he's capable of doing in NASCAR, because he's a happier individual.
Let me ask you this, Lee. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, and you would know better than any. The problem we were talking about, is this the best time for young talent coming up through the open wheel ranks? Yes or no? To you, is this the best time that you've seen since you've been around open wheel racing? The best time?
Open wheel racing, yeah. For a second I thought you meant racing in general, but I mean, I would say, I was sitting there and I'm looking at like the top 10 drivers in World of Outlaws, and I think, when you compare what they have and All-Stars right now, the level of talent at the very echelon of World of Outlaws is stout. But I think throughout the field in the All-Stars, you get a much wider range, more guys that can win on any given night than you can in World of Outlaws.
Let me say this about that portion of the conversation, the World of Outlaws portion of the conversation. You got David Gravel, Donnie Schatz, Brad Sweet. I mean, listen.
Hodenshield.
Those guys are too long in the tooth, almost. Not Hodenshield, but...
Oh, no, he's definitely... And neither's Gravel. I mean, Gravel's still young, right?
Yeah, but he's right on the edge, though. You know it and I know it. What is he, 29, something like that?
But, I mean, I asked Sunshine at Bristol, so we're talking back in March, right? March, April. Right. If he wished he had left USAC sooner and come and jumped into the wing sprint cars. And he said, he goes, looking back on it, yes. And I think he proved that at Eldora, that I won't say his time was wasted in USAC. Don't get me wrong on that. But my God, is he the face of World of Outlaws in years to come? Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. But you have to create an identity for yourself as a driver, right? And USAC was a great platform for him to do that. He had a lot of success over there. It put him on a big stage where a lot of people were watching him. It really prepared him for this next step with the wing sprint car racing. So I think that the sequence of how he made it through the ranks has worked out really well for Sunshine.
And I think that there are people who have, been in USAC a long time. I would say right now, the depth of the field at USAC and the number of people who can win on any given night is probably, even though Tanner's having, another blowout season, right? I mean, it's just like, and I think so much of that just goes back to him understanding the race car, and it seems like every Monday he has to come on Midget Monday on Twitter just to defend himself, right? Because everybody's bitching and moaning. They wouldn't be bitching and moaning about him if he wasn't winning, right? He'd be irrelevant. So I told him, keep being you, because as long as you're winning, they're going to come after you, and you expect that. But I think that the depth of racing right now, the depth of the field is it's just so much fun to watch these guys and how much talent is truly out there. And, like Sunshine, the cream's going to rise to the top.
Well, this brings me to, this is where I was going with this whole conversation is, unfortunately, for all these young, talented drivers that are winning all these races on some dirt track near you, there's just not enough open seats at the top level for these guys. So a lot of these guys who have their eyes set on NASCAR trying to get there will probably never get there because the seats don't open up quick enough. Is that correct?
Why do you think that? Because people spend too much time in USAC honing their skills, or do you think there's just not enough quality rides? Because somebody like Tanner Thorson, who is, probably one of his, I guess one of the criticisms of Tanner is, that he jumps around from ride to ride to ride, but whatever ride he gets and he wins, right?
Right.
So I think that there are plenty of rides out there that are capable of winning if you put the right guy behind the wheel.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's absolutely fair.
Because everybody's got good equipment now.
But here's the thing. If you're a young driver and you have a chance to get in a truck team that's maybe subpar or an Xfinity team that maybe is a little subpar, and I've been told it works this way, and you tell me if I'm wrong or if it doesn't work this way now, but back in the day when I had my ARCA team, Clint Boyer got recognized because he was driving a car out of Kansas City, a couple guys put together, right? And they said, well, he's driving that car. What's he going to do in a good car? So does it
same thing with Brad Keselowski, right?
Right.
Junior saw him. Same
in the 09 car,
right?
The 09 car.
So it was the same deal, but there's not a nice word for it other than businessman.
Right.
And it's just the fact that it is a hell of a lot easier for JR Motorsports to take a check than to go out and find talent and find the next Josh Berry and put him in a car, right? And, you've heard the complaints about having to pay to have Josh Berry in the car. And, with Michael Annett having surgery on his leg, that gave an opportunity to Josh Berry to get in and get another ride. But the opportunities for the Josh Berrys in this world are fewer and further between. That's one of the reasons when Seb Wise said, I have no aspirations of running NASCAR. I want to, my dream is to get to the World of Outlaws one day. I had so much respect for him because he's going to race based on his talent. He's not going to race on whether his dad or his granddad or some rich uncle can write a check for him to move up the NASCAR ladder.
Yeah. No, I hear you. But you know what? As I said here a week or two ago, there's a lot of good young rich kid race car drivers out there. Hate them all you want. Hate them all you want because they're spoiled little rich kids that get their way because daddy's got a lot of money, but there's a lot of them that are still pretty damn good race cars.
If you're talking about people getting an opportunity and, writing the right check to the right person, Carson Macedo is a perfect example of that.
No
Carson
doubt.
Carson Macedo's, getting a little financial love, but that hasn't stopped him from being with the right organization, having that comfort level and blossoming, showing the kind of potential that he has. And he has been one of, I can give you a list of people, who we've watched race for years. And Spencer Baston, these are young guys getting a shot that I think. That's one of the reasons when Seb Wise
Hold on a second.
I have no aspirations of.
I don't know
These are young guys getting a shot that I think.
It's feeding back through. Somebody got their computer on?
That's totally on me, guys.
Okay, sorry about that.
That was all on me right there.
You're
Open the browser.
You're an honest.
This is when you put up the chyron that says technical difficulties, Kirk.
Yeah, no, I wasn't too proud of that moment, right?
We were all looking around. I even went on my computer. I thought, that must be me.
I thought it might have been me. So
Yeah.
that's
I
good.
thought I
All
was going to
good.
have to make a Bloody Mary.
It's all good. Now, what were we talking about?
Well, anyway, Lee, I don't mean to get on that kick again, but it's just
but I'm just
it's just
saying
like
you
this
don't-
young kid that races with us. He's 14 years old and he's got a ton of money.
14?
Ryan Timms. Remember
Right.
that name.
He's
Ryan
talented. He's talented.
Isn't he like one of those Justin Bieber lookalike kids that
He is a lot like Justin Bieber. Now that you mentioned that, I never put that together until just now.
I mean,
But he's a good-looking kid. He's a sore loser. Last night,
I've got no patience for that.
well, but here's the thing.
But he's
Now, listen.
14, right?
What one of your best buddies, Kirk Busch, is not a very good loser either.
Kyle's a worse loser. Kyle hates losing more than he likes winning. I'll steal that from Larry McReynolds. And
But
That's
Kyle,
great.
Kyle especially hated losing to his brother Kurt at Atlanta.
well, Kurt was smart enough to have a backup ride. He wasn't going to get stranded like he did in Kentucky.
Is he going to stay with that team next year?
I mean, as I told somebody else, he's got three options. He can stay where he's at and help build it. And I think he would be a really good fit if the money's right, because he's really been screwed on salary last. Yeah, I would say probably ever since that evil woman from Washington D.C. turned his life upside down.
She was evil too. Oh, she was evil.
Yeah, yes. But anyway, I would, I think it would be really, if they're willing to pay him what he's worth, I don't know, longevity. The cool thing about if he stays at Trackhouse, and I've got so much respect for what Justin's doing, and I've got a lot of respect for how Pitbull has integrated his Slam program into what he's doing with NASCAR. I mean, I was chatting with somebody on Twitter this morning. A woman told me she had posted a picture of her daughter going to summer camp at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I didn't even know this existed. And I am all, of a mother that had two gifted children. I was always trying to find, a camp that would incorporate enough activities mentally to keep them occupied, right? Because it's hard to do. And when I saw this and I saw that, that there was that opportunity, it made me think of the whole Trackhouse deal with Pitbull and having that Slam project, having kind of a STEM, a science technology, and math component to it. This is something where Kurt, if he is in an opportunity like that, and with him having a second house in Wellington where his wife plays polo during the winters, getting down to South Florida is a hop, skip, and a jump from Wellington, especially if you can helicopter back and forth. That would be a really convenient deal. Well, then he's got 2311, right? And then you have Michael Jordan, who, the GOAT, although Jordan doesn't have as many Twitter followers as Pitbull does. So, if Kurt is that celebrity lover, which I know that he is, you got a tough decision on your hands. And then you got to consider who's going to have the best equipment. The better equipment, I think, right now is in Toyota. That could change depending upon what what happens on the Chevrolet side. If Trackhouse has, they've been working just basically a turnkey operation out of RCR up in Welcome. And so the fact that Daniel Suarez has run as well as he has with RCR equipment, starting out, I think that kind of speaks volumes for Daniel's talent. But ultimately, do I think there's going to be more money behind the Toyota deal? I think that Kurt would have a better opportunity to be competitive at 2311 as opposed to Chevrolet, and that's if their deal with Toyota is, I won't say stay status quo, because we've seen too many people get screwed under, partnerships with Joe Gibbs Racing. If you look at Bob Lamine, if you look at Furniture Row Racing, neither one of those partnerships ended well. If you screw over a guy that has the magnitude of Michael Jordan, I don't think that's a good look. And so I think Toyota will always cover their ass where that deal's concerned, more so than they have with somebody who's never heard of a Bob Lamine or Barney Visser.
Hey, do you think this is his last contract, this one coming around? He's got to make a smart decision here, right?
Well, he does. He's in, he's in his early 40s, and I think that,
the days of 50-year-old drivers is gone, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he and Kevin Harvick, I think that they're really at a point now where it's just not. I just don't see the longevity there for those guys, for Ryan Newman. I mean, Ryan Newman, this could be his last hurrah, because, you wouldn't want to go any lower on the totem pole than Roush Racing, right? And so I just, 40-something drivers, Truex told me at Road America that if he doesn't like this new car, he's gone. And so, he doesn't have to race. And I think that there's going to be a lot of people with that mentality. I don't think, I don't know. There are certain people, I don't think Martin Truex, with, having a championship, NASCAR's not always going to be that one thing that identifies Truex. And, he's probably happier with a fishing pole in his hand anyway.
And he's got a pocket full of money, too, on top of it already.
He's got plenty of clams. We'll leave it at that.
They can do that. Let's talk about Brad Keselowski. It's official now. The announcement has been made. He's going to Roush Fenway Racing. How does this change Roush Fenway in their performance now that Brad Keselowski's over there?
And how soon?
What to? I'm sorry.
I said he's not over there yet. He's finished out the year with Penske. But once Brad Keselowski sets foot at Roush Fenway and starts doing his thing over there, how's that changed the whole organization, and does it do it right away?
Brad won't settle for mediocrity, and so I think from that standpoint, it's that's kind of what you have to look at. He's going to bring in his own people. Clearly, the recipe that Roush has had over the last 10 years hasn't worked, right? I mean, when you look at just a handful of race wins, Ricky Stenhouse, I think you got to go back, 3-4 years since Ricky Stenhouse won a race, and it was at a restrictor plate. And, spin the wheel at Talladega or Daytona, anybody can really win those races. And so when you look at how competitive Roush Fenway Racing used to be on intermediate tracks, and just how that they have just, suffered, I think having somebody who has not only Brad's business acumen, but his talent behind the wheel is a great thing for that organization. It needed an influx of new blood, and Brad Keselowski is going to bring that to the table. Plus, he's got a level of passion that, is, I think, is necessary. It's something that's been missing. It's contagious. And they need a spark. They need something over there. I mean, the last couple of conversations I've had with Jack, he just doesn't feel like he's part of the sport anymore, because he used to be able to get under the hood and work on things and tinker with this and tinker with that. And all the tinkering aspects for Jack Roush are gone. And, he really, his son, Jack Jr., his daughter, Susan, they really didn't have any interest in running it. And so as far as picking a successor in Brad Keselowski, and have him being, your succession plan. I think it's not only great for Roush Fenway Racing, but it's great for Ford.
You know what stood out in that presser to me was how quick Jack was to say, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be a pain in everybody's side. I'm still going to be at the track. I'm still going to be doing what I do. He's 80 years old, right? Nearly 80 years old, 79, 80 years old. And he has no interest in just folding up his chair and going home and watching the races on TV. He's still going to stay active. How long will that presence of Jack Roush interfere with Brad Keselowski pushing his agendas in there and causing the team to turn the corner? How long will that transition take, do you think?
I don't think, I certainly don't expect it to happen overnight, simply because when you're this bad for this long, it takes a lot more than that. But I know that the guy who was the general manager for Brad over when he had the truck teams is already working over at Roush. So there's that. And I think slowly but surely he's going to bring in his own people. And as I said again, that is not a bad thing, because Roush has just been uncompetitive for, a number of years. And so they need to do something. And I think Brad, with his business sense, is the kind of guy that can really help them out. And Jack's 79. He turned 79 on April 19th. He and Robert Yates were born on the same day, which I always found that was pretty sporty. But, just looking at, I think Christopher Buescher has talent, and, he's got another year left on his contract, maybe more. Ryan just really haven't seen as much out of him over the last couple of years, but from, a standpoint of just, having his engineering background, I think that's beneficial. Especially with a new car. But, speaking of the new car, it's going to be a situation where they're going to be laying off a lot of people, a lot of fabricators and the like, and engineering's not going to be as important. So I think if you have talented guys behind the wheel and a really good pit crew and good engines, which they do with Roush Yates engines, that ought to be able, it ought to be beneficial to them.
Hey, Lee, are they going to quick change rear ends?
I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't have the answer to that yet.
The reason I ask is because I kept hearing on satellite radio, they kept talking about the gear people. I think it was Chocolate Myers talking about the gear people losing their jobs, and a lot of people in the body shops are going to lose their jobs.
Fabricators are gone, yeah.
Yeah. How many people do you think lose their jobs because of the new car down there in Morrisville?
I'd say probably a third of the workforce, and people are leaving already. There's, already been a lot of discussions as far as people are looking for people now because of the, people who have been in the sport and know that their jobs will be eliminated, come December. They've already left. I mean, because why wait around? Because the market's going to be flooded for these people, and they've got to have a place to go. And so that's, I mentioned, if I didn't mention on here last week, I'll mention it again. Anybody who's a fabricator looking for work, Tony Uri Jr. at Fury is looking for fabricators because they're still building real race cars there.
Hey, I got to ask you this too. I wasn't aware of this, but Brad Keselowski he's in the aerospace business. Tell me a little bit about that.
His Keselowski manufacturing place, and somebody said the other day that he just basically transformed his truck shop into making this manufacturing company, and it's up by Statesville Airport. And so, he did a big, grand opening, and Robbie Reiser, who used to run Roush Racing, from a competition standpoint, he's like up there as his general manager. And so that, that's really, really cool. But apparently the business took off. I mean, they had a little setback during the pandemic, but I think that they are, going gangbusters now. And it just shows you he was at the right place at the right time, had 3D printing going on and just made it into a profitable situation. And so there's no doubt how he's, been able to turn that into a successful enterprise, that he won't find a way to turn Roush Racing around as well. And, going in that flagship number 6 car, if you're going to put somebody in there and you think about some of the top names over the years, starting with Mark Martin, who have driven that car to its glory days, Brad Keselowski is a pretty big name to put in that ride.
Do you think because of his business in the aerospace business, something that, Jack has really made a fortune outside of motorsports, do you think that was part of the appeal to Jack Roush, knowing
Absolutely.
that he could do this outside the industry?
I do, because, here are 2 self-made guys that, went and did their own thing, built their own companies to sustain their racing habit. And, it's the people who are like a Joe Gibbs, where racing is their only business. Even Richard Childress went off into the winery business. I'm not sure, what level of profitability that brings to the race team, but most people have other businesses to sustain their racing habits. And I think that's kind of like a common thread that tied Jack and Brad together.
Yeah.
NASCAR's probably happy that there's 2 weeks off after what happened at New Hampshire last weekend. Boy, they've been getting it all ways after the incident with the rain, and Kyle Busch got his car destroyed and he went home. So NASCAR's probably more happy than anyone they got 2 weeks off.
I think they were happy to have the Brad Keselowski news come along on Tuesday and kind of wipe off any remnant of New Hampshire they still had on their hands, honestly. I just thought that it was just the only positive to come out of New Hampshire is that Eric Almirola won, and so it was like somebody out of the realm of possibility, no one you would have expected. And so it helped the storyline, and then Brad coming along and knocking the officiating off the front page was probably a really good thing.
Yeah, Almirola winning. No one would have chosen him the way he's ran this year. No one would have picked his name as a possible winner of that race.
It was just, it was. I think that it was good for that team. I don't think you say that no one would have chosen him. Would you have chose him as the first winner out of the Stewart-Haas Racing stable this
not a
year,
chance.
right?
Not a chance.
I've had conversations with Chase Briscoe, and he's suffered through a lot, and he goes, I feel good if I'm running second to Kevin Harvick. If I'm number 2 in the pecking order, then I think I'm doing all right, because they just all felt like they've struggled. And you can't blame Ford for putting good money after bad. If you're going to shelve this car at the end of the year, why would you invest anything in the technology? I just, but still, you look at Kevin Harvick and you just have to scratch your head and say, he's always found a way to come back, and he just hasn't this year. And
he ran pretty well the other day too. So hey, one other thing I was going to ask.
But I mean, this is also on the heels of NASCAR making Chevrolet, or at least the Hendrick Chevrolets, change whatever fun and games they had going on with that right front headlight, and where they appear to be getting a little bit of an advantage on the racetrack, since they had to go back and massage whatever it was out of that headlight. They haven't had the success on the track that they had been enjoying the past couple of months.
Hey, you were at Nashville last Saturday night. What a monster crowd they had at the fairgrounds for that final SR. What do they call it? SRS event?
SRX. Superstar Racing
Yeah.
Experience. I've been working on my Ray Evernham follow-up piece now for about 3 days, just trying to give it its due, because it's, I got to tell you.
That was a big night, was it not? That was a huge night.
It was absolutely huge, but just what they were able to accomplish in such a short period of time for it to be that successful, to take the product to so many race fans. And that's what I talk about in the article. People who never thought they'd have the opportunity to see Chase and Bill Elliott race against each other. And,
Right.
The fact that you not only have that, and you have guys like, Tony and Bobby Labonte, who, it felt like old times, because when the race was over, we were cutting through the motor coach lot and ended up drinking beers with Mikey and Bobby Labonte. I don't think Bobby was drinking beer, but it was, just to kind of hang out and it be like old times where the media used to actually hang out with the competition. It was those, now, today these guys are racing to the airport to get on a plane and go wherever they're going to go. But to have everybody stick around the way that they did, and to have the drivers stick around and sign autographs, and the number of people that they had in the pits, it was amazing. And, all the vision of Ray and Tony and Tony Eury Jr., just what they were able to pull off in a matter of months was just amazing.
Let me ask you this, Lee. And I don't mean this in a bad way when I say this, because we know it's not staged. These guys are really racing each other pretty hard, but there's a little WWE in this thing, right? We're seeing guys knock people out of the way, roughing them up through the corners. There's obviously, everybody doesn't like Paul Tracy. There's a lot. There's a few villains in here and a few bad guys, and people are not afraid to use up Tony Stewart's race cars to get even with people.
Absolutely not. And as Ray will tell you, he's in charge of the flag, and he's going to fly it the yellow flag, and he's going to fly it when he deems necessary. And if the crowd's strung out, if somebody's got too much of an advantage, he's going to wave the flag and bunch the field up. He's not afraid to admit that. At the end of the day, he says it's motorsports entertainment. It's not a traditional racing series, and he's not going to apologize for that.
So are you going to stay home here? You've been traveling a lot here lately. Are you going to hang around the house for a while now? NASCAR's off for 2 weeks.
Not really, but
no. Why would you do that?
Yeah, why would?
Where are you going next?
We've got a golf trip up in the mountains planned, and next month is my birthday month, and so we're leaving on August 4th, and we're going to do 2 weeks cruising down the Mississippi River from Minneapolis to New Orleans.
Cool.
Wow.
That's good.
Lee, thanks so much for taking the time with us again today, like you always do. We appreciate it. It's always a lot of fun to talk to you. We'll see you down the road. We'll talk to you next week, okay?
You guys stay out of trouble.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Lee.
Thank you, Lee.
Great job. Hey,
yes, she is absolutely none better
than
than
there's
Lee,
no doubt
and
about
we are so blessed to have her. I don't even know why she stays with us, to be honest.
Hey, Scott.
We're just so
that's she's been terrific. There's just no doubt. There's nobody better covering what she covers, and she's so versatile as well. Scott, you're going to be up at the Hall of Fame here in a couple of weeks, but I wanted to bring Bob Baker on here quickly this morning because they're trying to make a big push. The $20,000 Priority Aviation sponsorship is coming to a head right now, and we just got days left. Bob Baker is joining us very quickly now. Bob, this is the final days of this thing, and by the time Scott joins you up at the Hall of Fame here in a couple of weeks, that thing will be finished up, and but we wanted to make sure we give it one final push here. Hello, Bob. Are you there?
Happy race car drivers. Are you there?
Yes. How you doing this morning, Bob?
Good. We're doing great. You're right. The contest wraps up for the Priority Aviation $20,000 sponsorship next Saturday on the 31st. The winner will get winning driver or team $20,000. Second place, $10,000. Third place, driver or team, $5,000. And it's pretty easy. The drivers don't have to do anything except for ask their fans to call us at 1-800-874-4488 and make a donation in their favorite driver's name.
And McKenna Hasse is still leading this thing, right?
Right. McKenna is second right now in the contest.
Oh, she's second.
And it's still just about anybody's game.
And then you got that Corvette up there, too. You're going to be giving that away during the Nationals as well, right?
Exactly. We give the new Corvette, the 2021 Z51 Corvette, which we have sitting in our lobby. We give it away on Saturday, August 14th, right before the A feature rolls out for the Knoxville Nationals championship race here in Knoxville that night.
Bob, let me ask you a question. You might not want to
Yes.
answer this question, but I'm going to ask you the question. The winners of the past Corvettes, did they buy early, or did they buy in the middle, or did they buy late? Do you know?
You know, I honestly don't know, but I do know that both of the past winners bought $100 worth of tickets. I know they both told me that they said, we just figured we'd try $100 and see if we'd get lucky. And so both the past winners, you know, put in $100, donated $100 to the museum to try to win the Corvette. But I have not asked them. I never asked them when they bought. The first winner said he was laying in bed with his smartphone, and he just figured one night, you know, I enter 2 or 3 of these Corvette drawings a year. I'll just enter this one to help the Hall of Fame. And he's a big sprint car fan too. Him and his family came in Kyle Larson T-shirts and everything that day. So some race fans won the first one. So it's pretty fun.
Well, there's different levels of packages that you can buy. You can buy $25 worth of tickets. You can buy 50, 100, 250, 500, 1,000. The quantity of tickets continues to go up. You can buy as many as $2,500 worth of tickets, right?
That's right, and it's real easy. All people have to do is go to Win a Z51 Corvette on their smartphone or their computer, Win a Z51 Corvette, and push the little button that says Enter Now, and it tells you how much for like $25. I think you get 5 tickets, and right now if you use a code NEON30, you get an extra 30% ticket, so you get a couple more tickets with that NEON30 code and a chance to win a giant neon Corvette grill that we'll give away here in a couple of weeks. So we always have lots of little contests going along with the Corvette drawing, but the Corvette drawing has become one of our major sources of revenue to keep the museum open. So it's really helped us, especially during the COVID periods last year and earlier this year.
And for people that don't know about these Corvettes, folks, you can't hardly get your hands on one. And if you do, you're going to pay well above 6 figures for one, because people that they put them up for sale for about $95,000. But by the time somebody gets their hands on them and then tries to flip them in the paper, they're about $110,000, $115,000 cars. These are real race cars too.
You're exactly right. And the one we have is an Elkhart Lake Blue Metallic 3LT, so it's the top of the line Z51. You can't get any more extra options on it. It comes with everything.
Well, I love the look of that car. That is cool.
That is a great car. I'm gonna buy me $100 worth when I get up there, Bob.
Well, I'm looking forward to having you here for the 360 Nationals in a couple of weeks on August the 7th. We'll have you up here to do the show on the second floor, overlooking the racetrack like we always do, and looking forward to having Racing Boys back with us.
All right, buddy. Hey, have a good one. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right, you guys too. Stay cool out there.
Thanks, Bob.
All right. Thank you, Bob. Bob
Bye-bye.
Baker from the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum, a great friend of the Racing Boys for several decades, was a great promoter back in the day in Kansas City, one of my favorite ones. But,
He was the best
my
promoter the fairgrounds ever had at Sedalia. No doubt about that.
No doubt about that. Yeah, yeah. Well, and he did a great job out at Lakeside when he ran Lakeside, too. You know, he brought back the girls with the bikinis. All the guys wanted to win on those nights. Right?
Bob's a great guy.
Great guy. Yeah, for sure.
All right,
folks. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in on the show. We want to thank Ryan Ragland for checking in at the Silver Dollar Nationals with us here today, and also thankful that Dale Howard allowed us the time to do an interview with Scotty Cook last night so we could play it on the show. We're going to do it all over again next week. We've been doing it for over 23 years now, folks. And that man that you're looking at on the screen, he's been here with me, 21 of them. And I couldn't be happier that he's been with me all this time. Todd Surprise, 10 years.
10 years.
Gosh, how many years has Adam been with us now?
Probably 4 now, right? 4. Going on 4.
About 4 years.
And he's got a 3-year-old.
You know, let me just say this. You know, we've had a few employees come and go, right? But for the most part, everybody stays, right? You look at Kirk Elliott, 21 years. Todd Surprise, you got 10 or 11 years in. Scotty Cook, 10 or 11 years in. Adam, 4 years in. Deidre, 3 years in. I mean, people just stick around, right? Because we have a chemistry amongst our team. And I think that chemistry is real, and we all fit together well. It's just like the people out here on this crew out on the road. There's a core group of us, Jeff, Scotty, myself, Deidre, the people that run up and down the road. There's a chemistry there, and that chemistry is so important, because if the chemistry's not there, it's not going to work. And the people that have been with us the longest understand what I'm talking about. And I want to thank each and every one of them for being a part of Racing Boys for all these years. And that includes you, Todd, and Adam as well. So just want to say thanks for everything.
This is supposed to be fun.
It is
the
fun.
Racing, when you show up at the races, you're supposed to have fun.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Want to get into this business to be working hard, and we don't mind the hard
not
work.
Having any fun. Yeah. Who wants to do this not have any fun?
That's right. You got to have a little fun aspect in it.
You talk about all the, it's not glamorous out there, the traveling around and all that stuff.
Man,
but when you're at the racetrack and the races are going on, those are the best times. It's getting there and to and from that can be, nerve wracking, but it's all worth it because the racing that you see.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, did I mention Steve Post is here for the first 3 races of the Sizzling Summer Speed Week? Yes.
Cool.
He come out and hung out with me in the trailer a little bit last night, man. It was good to see the Postman.
He was at Eldora last weekend. Saw him out there.
Thought I saw somebody say he was at Eldora.
I kind of stiffed him. I was supposed to meet him down on Beale Street the other night, and then all of a sudden, we were down there. We went down there and had dinner, and no drinks, and then Matt and Ashley and everybody was ready to drive. We like to drive our motorhomes at night because they run better at night.
Right.
They're cooler. So he said, hey, man, you want to take off and head on over to Batesville? And I said, let's do it. And so we're driving back, and Post says, hey, I'm on my way down. And I was leaving. So I felt a little bad.
Oh, my God. Well, yeah, we saw him at Eldora last weekend. He's got 3 weeks off. Because the PRN, he's an MR Motor Racing Network guy, so PRN handled New Hampshire last weekend. So he had last week off. He's got the next 2 weeks off. So, and probably after that, because he goes to Knoxville, so he won't be working that weekend either on the NASCAR circuit. So he's out there getting dirty right now. The Postman.
Yeah. The Postman. Yeah, he's been doing a lot of running up and down the road. He's lost 50 pounds he's been running a couple 4Ks a week, 5Ks a week.
Still got that long hair, though, doesn't he?
He's turned into a rock star.
He's like Todd. Postman is like Todd Surprise. Let that hair grow.
No, he's not like Todd Surprise.
No, he's different, but I'm saying the hair, though.
Yeah, he doesn't mind growing the hair, so...
No,
I couldn't do no 5K. I'll tell you that. Right.
You guys want to be rock stars.
I couldn't
if I could grow hair, I would do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say those who can do, those who don't wish, and that's just what happened.
Right. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Appreciate you. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. For Kirk Elliott, myself, Adam, Todd, and all the people that travel up and down with me on the road here with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour. I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week right here on Lucas Oil Products Track Talk.
We always argue, baby, never to the end. And when it's over, you always win. Now I'm sitting thinking, and I'm worrying. I got the nerves of baby, where you been? I love you, Leah, but you let me go. Don't need another mother's milk. Rock and roll, I'm gonna rock right now. I'm gonna rock right now.